This is Joe narrating a PowerPoint in Social Studies from the Geography and the World unit. This is Lesson 3, The Age of Revolutions. Vocabulary for this lesson include Parliament, the French Revolution in 1789, the Industrial Revolution throughout Europe and North America, steam engine, and the idea of social mobility. So a revolution is any rapid change. They can be political or economic. We'll talk first about some examples of political revolutions. On July 4th, 1776, the British subjects in the American colonies decided that they no longer wanted to be part of England because they were being taxed without having representatives in the Parliament in London. They declared themselves a sovereign nation, the United States, and they fought the American Revolution to successfully separate from England. This Declaration of Independence was signed right here in Philadelphia. This is a house on 7th and Market Street. It is a replica of the original house that stood there. In this house, Thomas Jefferson, living on the second floor, drafted the Declaration of Independence. It is open for visits periodically throughout the year. After the American Revolution, the founders of our country set up the Articles of Confederation. That was a written document that showed how the powers of the states would join together to form this country. This did not work out, as the states had separate currencies, for example, and they were often feuding with each other. So in 1787, a constitutional convention was called in Philadelphia, and a new constitution was drawn up. This begins with the words, "We the people," and is composed of just 7 articles which describe the branches of government, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial, and then other articles about the power of the states, the procedure for ratification of the Constitution, and the procedure for amending or changing the Constitution. Here is Independence Hall, where both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were signed. Shortly after the American Revolution, the French Revolution occurred. The French people wanted more say in how the government was running. At that time, in 1789, the king had absolute power. This is a picture of King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette, the Queen. The people wanted to set up a National Assembly, which is a lawmaking body to represent them. The king opposed this, and a revolution occurred. There was a brief period of mob rule. Many people were executed by means of the guillotine, which is a mechanical device to chop off their heads. Both the king, Louis XVI, and his queen, Marie Antoinette, were victims of the guillotine. Other examples of revolutions occurred in Haiti in 1804, when a leader by the name of Toussaint Louverture decided that Haiti should have independence from France. Other American colonies declared independence and succeeded in separating from their European colonizers. Here is a map of North and South America showing the different countries and the dates at which time they achieved independence. You can see, for example, Mexico achieved independence from Spain in 1821, Haiti, as mentioned, in 1804, Brazil achieved independence from Portugal in 1822. Another type of revolution is an economic revolution. So this is a drawing of a steam engine. Steam engines were developed in the late 18th century, and they helped power huge factories that consolidated workers in one place to get benefits of having a central energy source to make products more efficiently. The steam engine was just basically a very strong iron cylinder that had steam pumped into one end of it, and then it would evacuated out the other end, and this movement of the steam made a piston move back and forth. This powered railroads, which then opened up land transportation efficiently, and also factories. Factory machines needed power for their movements. So this Industrial Revolution had a mixture of benefits and problems. For example, many useful inventions were made. People could start businesses and increase their wealth, and there was a new social mobility where people could work, acquire money, buy houses, but there were also many problems generated by the Industrial Revolution. For example, child labor was common at this time until laws were established limiting the age and hours of work for younger workers. And there was extensive pollution. Steam engines used either coal or wood to generate their heat. There have always been differences in class throughout most countries. For example, here is a picture of the Union League on Broad Street just below City Hall, where wealthy men in the mid-19th century would congregate. Also on Walnut Street across from Rittenhouse Square, you have the Rittenhouse Club. So these were social clubs for the wealthy in the 19th century. But the Industrial Revolution allowed workers to acquire capital to buy houses. So these are some of the workers' houses in North Philadelphia, and many row homes sprung up for the workers' families. The managers of the factories had more money than the average worker in the factory, and they could buy larger houses. For example, these houses are duplexes on Parkside Avenue in West Philadelphia. Once there was better transportation with railroads out into the distant parts of Philadelphia, people could move to the suburbs. These are houses in Germantown. So that's it for Lesson 3, The Age of Revolutions.